You're 1.7 above the average score. You do cardio?
Yeah, I do.
What do you do?
When I tripped over and buckled, I thought that was it. Lights out.
Again, we just compare bodies over time. If people want to see differences in size, we can just see how things like waist, chest, belly and hips are moving. We also just make sure everything's nice and symmetrical, left to right side. There's a slight difference between your left and your right side, but nothing crazy, only like half a centimetre. We can also look at your shape changes cross-sectionally. So again, if there's like certain areas of your body that you want to see change, it'll be like a pink line over top when you come back in next. And then last thing we're looking at is just your posture. Posture looks pretty good. You've got slightly rounded shoulders, but nothing crazy. I mean, we'll have to look at
Around my shoulders?
Just, no, rounded shoulders.
That needs to be more back.
A little bit, but just keep training your rear delts and like your traps and stuff, and that will help. But it's nothing out of the ordinary at all. Perfect, lovely. So I've got your spine down the left-hand side here. We're just looking at the strength of these vertebrae. I've taken this one out because your L2 is a lot stronger than the rest of your spine. So I've just taken that out to not affect the standard deviations. But, that's right. But yeah, if we look at the average of 1, 2, 3 and 4, we have a score of a 1.2, which is about average for a black 32-year-old man, and quite a lot higher than the average white 30-year-old woman. Okay. This T-score, so comparing you to white females in their 30s, is what the NHS use to diagnose osteoporosis. So osteoporosis starts from a score of minus 2.5. So you're like nowhere near that. Your spine is super strong, okay, which is really good.
Osteoporosis, what? I might have that.
No.
Oh, what?
You're nowhere near that.
Okay.
Okay.
But you see how it's highlighted L2?
Mm-hmm.
Read it that bad, or?
No, it's just a lot stronger, so your score's a lot higher. And I have to make sure that all your scores are like within one score of each other. It's just for making sure it's all accurate, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
So yeah, your spine is absolutely fine. Nice and strong. And the same goes for your hip also. So your hip is, so an average score would be 0.0. So you're 0.1 above the average score, comparing you to black 32-year-old men. And then you're 1.7 above the average score of a white female in their 30s. So both above average in the strong category. Probably because you do so much weight training, which is great. So just continue to weight train, and then as you age, this shouldn't get any worse. Does that make sense? Yeah? Cool. Your full body DEXA is looking at your fat and muscle. It will give you an idea of how strong your bones are everywhere in your body, not just your hip and your spine, but it's not as high resolution of a scan as the hip and spine. So we always just look at those ones. This is saying the same thing as like in a normal range, which is fine. So if we look at your composition, we're looking at the differences between your fat mass and your muscle mass. So your fat mass is in yellow, and then your muscle mass is in pink and red. So you haven't got actually that much fat on you, really. Your body fat percentage is 10.2%.
What? 10.2?
Mm-hmm. Which is good. Anywhere from 8 to 20 for men is in normal range. Okay, so absolutely fine.
10.2, great.
Mm-hmm.
Anything lower than 10 is a bit dangerous, though, right?
Below 8.
8?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Below 8. Below 10 is hard to maintain, but it's not impossible. It puts you in the top 6% in the UK for men your age as well. So doing better than most people. Your android to gynoid ratio is where your body stores its fats. So we're looking at the fat around your tummy versus around your hips and thighs. Your ratio is 0.94, which anything less than 1 just means you store more fat genetically around your hips, which is good. If you store more fat genetically around your tummy, it just increases your risk of heart disease as you age.
So if I was on like 0.5, would that be dangerous?
No. If it was the other way around, if it was like 1.5, then it would be dangerous.
Okay.
Just because it means that you store loads more fat around your tummy, which is just not great for your heart and your organs. This bottom one here is your visceral fat, just the fat stores around your organs. We look at a cross-sectional area of fat, so how much fat surrounds your organs. We don't look at the grams just because everyone's organs are a different size. But anything under 100 centimetres squared puts you in normal range. So 56.7 is great, so that's nice and low.
And what would you say is dangerous if it were too low?
I have seen people where it's like 10, but they typically are very small people, but like not in a good range.
Right.
Yeah, it's typically like disordered eating and things, which is unsafe. Like you absolutely do need fat around your organs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 56 is like a great score. Yeah, right in that middle healthy range. Okay. Do you sleep well usually?
No.
Do you wake up a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Try your best to sort that out if you can.
How could you tell that?
I can't tell that, but people who wake up a lot in the night need to have high visceral fat as they age. So it's just something to keep an eye on.
Is there anything that could improve that?
You've probably done most things to improve sleep. Usually most people have. Usually I say to try and take magnesium and stop drinking water 2 hours before bed. Unfortunately, some people just wake up a lot.
Yeah, I do.
I'm sure it's annoying. I don't have that problem, so I can't give you any tips. I'm out the whole night. So moving on to your lean mass. Your lean mass is your muscle, organs and water. We're looking at how much muscle you have divided by your height. And that just gives us this comparative index. And it tells us if there's enough muscle on your skeleton. For men, we want to get an index number above 19.8. 21.5 is really high. So really good amount of muscle in your body. Again, as expected.
Yeah.
These percentiles, we want them to be high for high muscle. These ones, we want them to be low for low fat. So comparing you to 32-year-old men, you're in the top 6% for your body fat and doing well in the 63rd percentile for your muscle mass. So all good. That all makes sense so far, yeah? Last thing we're looking at is the amount of muscle in your left versus your right side of your body. So your left arm has got like 4.6, almost 4.7 kilograms of muscle, and the right arm has 4.7, so that's balanced, which is great. Your left leg has 12.6 kilograms of muscle, and your right leg's got 13.1 kilograms of muscle, so about a 500 gram difference.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. I've seen a lot worse. We would just want to try and get it under 500 grams, so you're like just on that kind of threshold, really. Do you do your single leg stuff, split squats?
Sometimes.
Yeah, all the horrible things.
It looks like I'm going to do more in it.
It will help.
Yeah.
It will help. Single leg press, leg extension, stuff like that.
Bulgarian split squats.
Yeah, the worst. Not for me. I dread when I see them on my program. Cool. So overall, your skeleton weighs 3.1 kilograms. You've got 8.5 kilograms of fat, and you've got 72 kilograms of lean mass. So looking smashing, all good.
So if you're going to say, so I weigh 80 kilograms, is that just over 80?
You weigh 83, yeah.
Okay. So if you're going to say overall, if I was going to make any sort of improvement, what would you say?
Improvement, I would say if you can get your bone density slightly higher, that will help with your muscle mass as well. So your bones and your muscle obviously both just get improved through strength training.
Wait, can you go back to the bone density quickly, please?
Yeah. So your bone density is like fine, but compared to black men who are your age, it's going to be a slightly lower score. So obviously when we compare you to white females in their 30s, that's the classification for osteoporosis, you're obviously going to have a higher bone density than a female and someone who's white. So for yourself, your bone density compared to black 32-year-old men is still safe, but if you want to be competitive, try and get it higher.
How do you improve your bone density?
Do you take vitamin D?
Vitamin D? I have vitamin D deficiency, that's right.
There you go, that's probably why. If you take vitamin D every day.
I do though, I take D3.
Yeah.
I take D3, but when you take D3, you're supposed to take B12 as well to help you absorb the D3.
Tough, a lot of stuff.
Pills and potions.
Yeah, and then it's usually just lifting in a low rep range, so just focusing on strength.
Oh yeah, we do that.
Nice. Well, you're doing the things you should be doing, so it might just improve with time. I mean, bone density can improve for the next 8 years at least. But your fat is great, fat's really low, visceral fat is fine, and your muscle mass is really high. So both those wouldn't necessarily say you need improving. VO2 max.
Oh god.
You did great. So your actual score is 47.2, which puts you in the excellent category for men in your age group, okay, which is really good.
You did good.
Yeah, you're in the excellent category. I'll get the chart, hang on.
Bro, I thought I was doing something bad.
No.
Bad. Especially on the treadmill, bad. When I tripped over and buckled, I thought that was it. Lights out. I felt like an elephant running with a trunk. It was bad.
Yeah, so your score is how much oxygen you're getting into your lungs divided by how much you weigh.
Okay.
Okay, so for men in their 30s, if you get a score above 49, it puts you in the top 10% of that age range. So you're close, 47.2, okay? So your fitness is really good. Yeah, it's nothing hugely to worry about. It could just definitely be improved. You definitely have the capacity to get better.
I could get there.
You could get there.
I could get there.
For sure. Your maximum heart rate that I got you to was 185 beats per minute, okay?
I wasn't pushing myself. That thing was trying to set me up.
Yeah?
Yeah, wait.
The mask makes it feel really tough though.
Yeah, well,
I know the
it was
feeling.
very awkward, innit?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I felt like the difficulty of the pedal was going up and down. And then when you explained it to me, I would like pedal faster.
To make it lighter.
And I was
yeah.
I was jolting and all sorts.
I know. I sympathise with you. I hate the test. This is why I only do it once a year. Because it's not for me. And I know it's tough for sure, but you've done it now. So
Yeah,
it's all good.
Better health, better community, better you. That's what Confirm Anomalies is about. Real services, real people, real support. For more information, check the link below.
Nice, yeah, so got you to 185. We want to ideally get you to about 50% recovery in 2 minutes. You're close, we got you to 42% recovery. All that means is you probably just don't see high heart rates like that very often.
I'm amped up, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm a bit amped up right now, that's all.
It's all good?
Normally I can recover pretty fast.
Yeah.
I'm not really, I wasn't out of breath then, so I was able to like do whatever you wanted, but I was a bit unbalanced, I would
Yeah,
say.
absolutely. Lovely stuff. We have your heart rate zones. If you were to do cardio, I would suggest doing just like a slow, steady cardio once a week, like half an hour.
Oh, I do cardio.
You do cardio?
Yeah, I do.
What do you do?
Like, I do circuit training.
Okay, so you do like high intensity stuff.
And, like, I did high rope and
Nice.
he died, but that's another story.
Sure, yeah. Cool, so you probably see like your high heart rates quite often. But maybe it's just your low heart rate, so you don't spend a lot of time in. Which would make sense.
Oh, I'm always
low.
low. It's always low.
What's it usually sitting at?
Sub-zero. I'll just sit down and relax, honestly.
Sure, okay. Cool. This is just what the test looked like throughout, which looks fine, no problems at all. We can look here, and this is showing you the amount of oxygen you get into your lungs per minute. So for you, that's 4 litres. So 4 litres of oxygen into your lungs per minute. If you want to get this score higher, so to get into the high categories, you have to just get your heart rate as high as you can into the 180s for 3-4 minutes at a time, and do intervals.
Yeah. You know what it is? I feel like if you had told me the end goal, like the end duration of time, I would have been able to push that little bit
Yeah,
harder.
if I had a time, I would give it to you, but I don't.
Oh.
I don't know how long is left of the test. Basically, every 15 seconds on the screen, it comes up with what you're breathing, so the concentration of carbon dioxide. That can fluctuate. So I know I can see it trending upwards, like you saw on the screen as well, I'm sure, where it's like getting closer to like that 1 value. So I know it's going that way, but I can't actually tell at what point you're going to stop. Yeah.
Got you.
It depends on someone's experience in that heart rate zone.
I just feel like a lot of people like to work towards a goal. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh man.
Yeah, it's so tricky. I mean, every single person that does this test has to stop at some point. I'm not going to stop you unless I see your oxygen plummet. Yeah, unless I see you like completely knackered.
Yeah.
It's a max effort test. You just got to go until you can't. And if that's your max, that's your max.
I was here for it.
You did great.
I was here for it. I should have asked you first if you're first day trained.
Oh yeah, I am, don't worry. Luckily, I've never had to use it, but yeah, no, we're all good. Other useful things for you, if you like spend let's say an hour in a class and your average heart rate is, like in the 150s, we know that your body burns like around 600, 700 calories an hour. So you can always just kind of look at the calories that you burn in the average hour of that heart rate, and then you can just refeed yourself that way as well.
Cool.
And then the last thing we look at is your fats versus your carbs, which is why I just wanted you to eat something quickly, because it definitely helped. So the purple bars are where you burn fat, and then the yellow bars are when you start to burn carbohydrates. Okay? When I say carbohydrates, it's the sugars in your muscle cells. Yeah. So obviously, as you get more tired and your heart rate goes up, we're going to use more carbs, and your fat just stops being burnt because the reaction's happening too quickly for it to keep up.
Yeah, it's because of the zone that I was in, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, got you.
So if we look down here, you're burning loads of fat between 130 and 150 beats per minute, which is great. That's really, really good to see. And that for you is like in your zone 2.
Yeah, no, because we have this debate all the time. You know? Basically, I like to go on the Stairmaster, and then For a while, I kept on blasting it out, but that's not going to be helping to burn fat. That's going to help with anaerobic.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas, obviously, in zone 2, yeah, so 147 to 155, cool.
Yeah, so it shouldn't feel out of breath.
No.
That's when you're burning the most fat. People call like your high intensity stuff fat burning just because you burn loads of calories, right? And obviously it just means you're going to be in a deficit throughout the day. But you're just burning sugars and then they go back into your cells as soon as you eat something with carbs. So if you want to target actual fat loss or just using fats to be more efficient as your body like gets better with cardio, then yeah, zone 2 training. That's what you should do. I would be curious to see your HIIT classes if you get up to 180s.
For what, my HIIT?
Or in your circuits.
What do you want me to do?
When you do your circuits.
I'm going to do one tonight.
You'll do one tonight?
Tonight.
Oh my God, you're crazy. After VO2, you're crazy.
Yeah.
See if you get your heart rate into the 180s.
180? Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to do something crazy to do that.
Yeah, because I don't think you're seeing 180s very often, and you need to try and see them.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so that's what you need to start doing.
And what would that improve?
The score.
Oh, that. All right, cool. Got you.
Yeah. So if you can get your heart rate in the 180s for like 2 minutes at a time and like rest in between, that's how
there's no rest in a circuit. You can't tell me that.
Okay, fine. In an interval. Then yeah, that's going to help.
All right, cool.
But overall, like looking at your bones, looking at the fat like around your organs and your muscle, and then this test also, like you're perfectly healthy, you're great.
Okay.
Wouldn't suggest there's anything wrong with how you're aging or anything like that. And it's clearly reflective of someone who does like good, consistent exercise.
See, this is why people don't believe that I was in a wheelchair. When I told them I was in a wheelchair, they don't believe me.
Crazy, yeah.
They don't believe me. But, well, it goes to show because I didn't want to run.
That's all right.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you still smashed it. You did great.
Well, thank you.
We only got you to like here when we did the run. So because you were still burning fats,
okay,
I could stop it and restart it, which is fine. But yeah, like you don't have to run
Yeah, running is crazy right now.
Yeah, if
I
running's
hate
gonna stop
running
your
on the
cardio,
treadmill.
then don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't feel like it was going to give me an accurate testing.
Yeah.
So that's why I prefer to do it on that.
Yeah.
As well as like losing balance and stuff. So.
You don't want to worry yourself. Right. No, you did really well. Do you want to go over any calories at all?
No, you explained it really well.
Yeah. You look at how many calories that you eat.
Occasionally, but
not
I
fast.
don't calorie count, no.
Cool, that's fine.
The human body is very fascinating, as you saw, filled with many different measurements and readings that you need to take on board in order to take your health to a whole nother level. I was unaware of my visceral fat, the amount of oxygen that my body needs, or even my max heart rate or zone 2 reading. If you like what you saw, you know where you could get your reading from, which is my vital metrics. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe because there's much more where this came from. You know the vibe, man.